Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I will be the Keeper of Arcane Lore for today's game of Call of Cthulhu 7th Edition. This is the final session in our playthrough of Loki's Gift, which is the first scenario in Cults of Cthulhu, the book that tells you all about the various cults worshipping the great old one Cthulhu, as well as how you can create your own cults, and provides you with a bunch of scenarios that span different periods of history and different parts of the world. I'm joined by this fantastic cast of players where we will be resolving Loki's Gift, and I will give a little recap of that scenario. But first of all, let's get an introduction to the players and to their characters. Art, can we start with you?
I mean, you may, yes. Hello, I am Art, and I am playing Ashley Burbage, Lord of Bothwell, I think. I forget my own character's name. It's my turn this morning. Lord Bothwell is affable, wealthy, likes the arts, has some concerns about the music currently in our possession, and generally just kind of wants everything to go back to not being so very strange. And also, I have a friend and his son died, and that's just not cricket. So that's
Not at all. Yes, in last session, somebody passed away. Not just the son of your friend, but somebody stabbed themselves with a letter opener. How is Lord Bothwell taking everything?
I mean, stiff upper lip and all that. What? We are in London in the 1890s, where men had one emotion, and it was emotion. I'm having a feeling. That one.
The one. That feeling. All
Just
right.
that feeling.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Let's now jump across to Jackson.
That's me. I'm Jackson, and I'm playing Professor Lucas Mooresville, a beardy professor of history and accidental professor of occultism, who knew it was going to end up this way. He called it, and none of you listened to him, and he told you so.
How are you taking all of the disastrous things that are happening? You kind of ran out of the room when somebody died to chase after some papers, so you were spared at least some disaster.
Because the papers are the real villain of the story. The papers were the real danger in that room.
So am I correct in hearing that you are your eye on the prize? You're not too concerned about what you've seen?
Yeah, I get the impression the professor has seen some of this stuff before, and that's why he is so kind of jaded and suspicious of occultism in all its forms. So no real shocker, but he'll do what he can to stop it from happening to anyone else.
Absolutely, very good. Let's jump across to Dave.
G'day. I'm Dave, and I'm playing Colin Fenton, local actor and occasional investigator, I guess, into the occult and the Cthulhu mythos. I think I'm not doing real red hot. I was standing next to old mate when he stabbed himself.
Yes.
So, splash zone and all that, poncho's not provided. I think I'm still kind of running off the adrenaline of sprinting to find the police and hoping this man gets some help. I think this was also the real kick up the ass this investigation needed to let us know that things are serious and the stakes can never be higher. So as we're going into this final performance and after party, I'm definitely bringing a little switchblade. I've got a little get out of jail plan, and I hope we survive.
I think all those things are going to be very, very important. And you're exactly right. You were pretty close by. Let's jump across, last but not least, Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I am playing Elias Thackeray, the very dedicated employee of the title family, the Gladstone, from out of Gladstone Manor. Lord Richard Gladstone is my employer. Charles, his boy who unfortunately lost his life to kick off the scenario, was a charge of mine of whom I was very, very fond. Thank you very much. And I do intend to see through this mission, this adventure, whatever it is, to its bitter end to find out what happened to the poor young lad. By which I mean Charles, not the musical individual who just stabbed himself right in front of me, whose blood was covering my hands after a failed first aid roll. So everything is fine.
Yeah, I think I know that you're a very formal person, Elias Thackeray, but you give me the impression that you could take anything. Explosions could be happening all around you and you would still maintain at least some level of demeanor and composure.
Up to a point, I assume, and I'm excited to find out what happens beyond that point.
Red mist, red mist.
Well, we might just find that out as we jump into the scenario. A very quick recap for everybody. The story of Loki's gift so far is that our investigators have come together to help investigate on behalf of Richard Gladstone, Lord Richard Gladstone, why his son Charles took his own life. Following Charles's recent activities, our investigators discovered that he had been involved in the artistic scene of 1890s London, and specifically had been involved in preparing a musical score for a play being put on by the rather enigmatic Ernest Chillingworth. Our investigators have met with Chillingworth, and everything was a bit off, and then they were told by Chillingworth's friend, assistant, Ruth Jones,
Hostage.
that he was up to, possibly, that he was up to no good. After looking in at the Pacific Club, a occult organization that Professor Mooresville is familiar with and does not like, they found out that the club which Chillingworth was supposedly a member of appears to be on not such good terms with him. Then they went to try and track down the new composer working on the score for the play that Ernest Chillingworth is putting on, only to have him stab himself with a letter opener. We pick back up the story with our investigators having raced over to the house of Lord Bothwell, where they can frantically try and clean themselves up and get ready before they have to run off to the theatre to see the dress rehearsal of Chillingworth's play and then be ready for a sinister after party that is happening afterwards. And after that long rant, I'll quickly say, remember, you can get Cults of Cthulhu from chaosium.com in hardcover or in PDF. So check it out there and let's jump in.
It's true.
It is, thank you. I tell
There's so
no
many
lie.
products you could tie to after saying, and then he stabbed himself in the throat. Anyway, to find out more.
To find out more, this fantastic letter opener.
Speaking of which, our sponsor today, Acme Letter Openers.
I stab myself with letter openers all the time, and I can say that.
Use code
hate it.
Jugular for 10% off.
Yeah.
Apparently
Anyway.
we are going dark this morning. Hello, everyone. I would like to just set the scene by saying, because it's like what, like winterish time in the UK at the moment.
I can give you the exact time.
Amazing.
It is autumn, actually. It's rainy. It's approaching winter, though. So you're heading into that zone.
Amazing. All I wanted to establish is at this time of day, there would be a fire, and I would have poured whiskey for anyone who wanted some after what we saw in terms of the house.
So
Elias will just politely resist for as long as he can and then give in.
My good man.
So just to set the tone of things, you're all in a rush. You get into the house with like 15 minutes and you're already acknowledging you're going to be a little bit late. And some of you are still covered in
Still
blood.
whiskey.
So still whiskey, hurrying through, maybe pouring it with a trembling hand. People are darting around. You have this performance starting soon and you do not have long to prepare. If you want to take you have these crumpled some musical staves, these notes, these pieces that in your possession now that you could start to look through. You have some information. What is your plan? What are you doing? How are you getting ready? Anybody can jump in if they want to.
I'm absolutely just stripping off my shirt and scrubbing as much of the blood off as I can, and some of the bits that have like dripped down my hands to my elbows, and like anything that I think is probably going to be covered by a suit, I'm just leaving.
Yep.
And it's like the bits on the face and in the hair, and like I can't get some of it out of the hair, so I'm just going to slick it back as much as I can. Just a frantic kind of can't get it out. I'm going to hide it.
Love that.
I have like my there's the head butler, but there's also like the head of the house, like I can't remember the female version of that. Someone can remind me. I will get her to go and get like some of the sort of servant, like uniforms to get for you, and will also assist in like the cleaning of the things. So it's a little bit, it's still frenetic, and we can't get all of it, but you have assistance with that side of things.
To keep the sort of...
Are we being provided with suits? Is that the idea? We're each going to get changed into...
I mean, I think, like, Bothwell would not necessarily have, like, nice suits, but you certainly have, like, servants' uniforms that are, clean and neat and presentable, if that is what you want.
I certainly would not assume to wear the clothing of a gentleman. I will wear the servant's uniform.
Colin can have a servant's uniform if he wants one, essentially.
The theatre that this is being performed at.
Yes.
He said stalling. The
Green Theatre.
Yeah. Have I been there before?
Let's make a luck check.
Yeah.
Surely education.
I'll take an education, considering that it is your profession to be an actor. But
Never mind,
I
80 luck.
think standard would be luck.
Failed the education.
Failed the education, but I did get lucky.
luck.
So I did not perform there.
Or you got a part there, you did work there, but not because you're any good, because you're the understudy.
I was there in the audience. I never performed. What I want to know, Jim, is have I seen? So I have the disguise skill. I was wondering if I could cobble together a attendee uniform for the theater. Like, I know that they wear a little hat.
Absolutely. You would be able to attempt that just based on what you know about theaters, but having been there, take a bonus die and make for me a disguise check. Meanwhile, so to be clear, Elias, you're just getting ready. I think to keep that sort of frantic, bloody energy on you, your shirt sleeves are still stained because you can't find the right thing to fit there, but you've got a nice jacket over it or something like that. So yeah, you are pushing towards presentable. With a hard success in your disguise, absolutely. You can put stuff together. You would be indistinguishable from any of the backstage staff, and you should be able to walk straight there.
I want to have one of those little flat hat things with the chin strap under it that they wear as they go up and down the aisles.
Yep. So you're going. I was thinking stage tech, no. But no, you're going up in the full bit. Yeah, okay.
Up and down the aisles. I'll be shining lights and going, "Oh, you got a ticket? Get out."
No. Fantastic.
Do ushers typically carry guns and firearms?
Depends what kind of theatre you're in. At the Green Theatre, you carry two. No, you would typically not carry a firearm.
Nuts.
What about Lord Bothwell and the Professor?
I'll be poring over the music, getting it in order, seeing what I can glean from it, seeing if they're trying to make it safe. Figuring out how dangerous it is, and just keeping it safe, keeping it secret.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Gandalf. So you can dart over towards one of the side tables, and you can start unfolding all of the papers from your, coat, your pockets, spreading them out, and trying to take a look over them. What is your approach here? What are you trying to do in examining these things?
Hi. I don't know much about music, but I know a bit about occultism. Absolutely. There must be lyrics for this music.
There are definitely suggestions, and they seem to be aligned to dialogue that is happening on the stage. So you could try and figure out if there are any overt occult themes here. Absolutely. So you can start going through this.
That's what I shall do.
Yeah, please make an occult check, and we'll jump back to Lord Bothwell in just a moment. Okay, fantastic. With an occult check on this music, as you start to look through it, first of all, as I have mentioned in terms of some of the previous occultism that's come up, this appears to be not drawing from any established source, i.e. it's the real sinister stuff, the stuff that is like, this isn't just myths and legends. There's some belief here that strays into the realms of the mythos of those dark things that you've investigated before. But as a result, you can't really piece together exactly what it means. That said, you manage to guess a couple of points and isolate when you think the music is going to be at its most terrifying, at its most sinister. So that might be helpful for you if you are, for example, trying to listen and resist it. The other thing I'll mention is that while this music is the almost completed version, that there have been several drafts and revisions that have been sent. So presumably at least a prototype version of this music is currently at the theater and will be played during the performance.
Well, that changes things, doesn't it?
I would also like to remind everybody to be very aware of what their current sanity load of damage taken today is, because that will become very, very important as this session goes on. You spread out the papers, you take a look, you don't have much time. Elias, you've swapped over, you've got all the blood off you because you were the one who had the most gore across. Colin, you've managed to put on a disguise. Lord Bothwell, what about you?
Well, I think I would like to also have a look at the music for the purposes of, in short, completing it, but not for the purpose it was intended. I want it to harmonically work, but with the help of the professor guiding the sort of, as he understands the occultism of it, I think it would be helpful to present this music as completed Chillingworth, but in a manner that perhaps doesn't actually have it do what its intended purpose was.
I think that's a fantastic idea. As you walk over to the other side of the table, you can speak with the professor.
What do you think, Professor?
I'm fairly confident I've identified exactly where the dangerous parts are.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not sure I can, I'm not sure how much time we have, but we do have two bars at the end that need, or a bar at the end that needs completion, and I'm not terrible at composition, so,
to be honest,
perhaps...
if you were terrible, that wouldn't be such a bad thing either.
No, but
Just make up any old rubbish, that'll throw them off.
I feel that Chillingworth has an eye for this sort of thing, or at least has people who work for him that might, so we do probably want to make sure that, those looking over it don't see anything immediately amiss.
Probably a very good idea. Why don't you make a music theory roll, and you can make it with a bonus dice based on the professor's assistance.
Amazing.
Unreal.
Have you just found a critical button? Is this what you have? Okay.
How do you keep doing this?
Oh my god, this is
sorry.
So,
sorry, I will say, I get a lot of extreme.
Confirm it.
Yeah, roll the bonus die.
It's not letting me roll the bonus die.
It's gone. You've already. That's enough.
It's like you need to stop.
I get extremes a fair amount. I think this is like my second critical success. I don't get many ones, but no. Although it's still a success regardless.
Which one do you want to take?
You looking across this, you can identify like the sinister harmonic themes that are going through, the way that it builds up to make people tense, and literally like I'm not a music theorist, but you're able to be like, I just changed this key signature here and just a slight, add a little.
You probably wouldn't change the key signature, but you might put a seventh where there was like a hole before. Or instead of having
tons of sevenths in this one.
Instead of having like a suspended seventh, which is very discordant and unfinished, you would finish it with a nice whole chord, or you would
just sevenths all over the place. Sevens, and yeah.
This is me going, I have a modicum of music theory from high school.
Excellent. No, you are through then. You stagger through, and after, remember, you only have a few minutes, but you're able to do as best as you can. And with a crit, you can really make quite a bit of progress. And before long, one of your aides, Lord Bothwell, will be telling you that you really must leave at once if you hope to attend the premiere.
Yes.
The dress rehearsal. Perfect. So,
Do we have a completed piece of music that will at least read to someone like it is done and like it's not been tampered with? And
yes, you do.
that it's not going to, as far as we're aware, not really understanding what the original piece of music was going to do in the first place, as far as we know, it's not as aggressively unpleasant.
You do not think that this is as aggressively unpleasant. You think that this probably this is good. This you have achieved your objective. It looks like it's spooky cult music. It's not actually spooky cult music.
Yeah, it's Gilbert and Sullivan instead of Faust.
Perfect. Exactly. So, the collection of you are bustled out of Lord Bothwell's house, and you need to basically rush down towards the Green Theatre as quickly as you possibly can.
Assume I have a driver.
Yes, you would have a carriage which would take you down, and everybody can squeeze in that. Although, what am I saying? It's spacious, Lord Bothwell. You have plenty of room for everybody. Did you have something you wanted to add, Elias, or have I misinterpreted? No? Okay.
No.
No, excellent. Never mind then. In which case, the carriage will trundle along the cobblestone streets of London, heading into Piccadilly, and then at last arriving at the Green Theatre, which, as we've established, Colin, you recognise immediately. There is quite... Oh,
it's that one!
Is quite a crowd outside, especially for a dress rehearsal, and people are very well put together. This is clearly some kind of social event, and many of the facilities inside the actual theater itself, like the bar and the box office and the various bits and pieces, are in operation. And you can even see that some food is being served. You reckon that there's a pretty good chance that the theater will be mostly full once you get inside. Descending from the carriage, you're all able to step forward. You can see the large double doors, which has now people swarming all through it from various parts of high society or the artistic scene. You can see an alleyway towards one side of the theater that leads down towards where a collection of stage doors are, and you're pretty sure that glancing around you can see the pathways that lead into the seats. You've probably got about only 5 minutes or so before the play kicks off because you were so pressed for time. What would you all like to do?
Given that I'm in a servant's uniform, I would probably not go into the dress rehearsal. I would probably take one of the side hallway things as just, I am waiting here for my employer, should he need me at any moment.
Fantastic. So you would definitely be able to stroll through into the rear of the auditorium and even sort of the areas at the side of the aisles. Getting backstage would be a separate thing. That is where the employees of the theater and the people who are doing the play would be. But no one bats an eyelid as you're able to step through, and before long you emerge into the large theater hall itself, which is a double-decker room with lots of plush seats looking towards the stage. The curtains are currently drawn, and you can see people are beginning to take their seats and mutter and talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Is there any specific action you want to take, or do you just want to get a good vantage point where you can move around easily?
Yeah, I want to get into a good spot where I have a lot of different ways I can go, a lot of different places, like somewhere with lots of ways to move around and get to lots of different places in the theater quickly. And I'm just going to walk like a man who belongs here. There is confidence. This is where I am going, and be it upon your head if you try and stop me. Not necessarily backstage, but somewhere where I could potentially get to the stage quite quickly and not be part of the audience.
Sure, I think a big part of this is just you putting on an air of authority and moving in. Do you want to make an intimidate check for me?
I do. No, I don't.
Oh.
You know what? It's the end of the, this is shit's going down. What happens if I push this?
Okay, so to start off with, you start trying to get close to the stage, and immediately you see that every other aide and bodyguard and driver has had the same idea. They all want this kind of position, and you start bustling and jostling with others. You think that if you push this roll and fail, you're going to get the opposite result. You are going to end up having to watch the play from the very, very back of the room with no good access, and you'll likely be separated from your companions.
I don't mind being separated from them. It's just I want to be somewhere with good access to the rest of the theater, like stage aisles. Yeah, okay.
Pushing and failing will not achieve this. You'll be right in the corner. You're going to have to climb over 3 people. Someone's got their walker. It's a whole thing.
Do you know what? I'm just going to start burning luck and then pushing things later on when the consequences are bad. So,
Sounds brilliant. All right, then. I will take from you 21 points of luck, a
sure will.
healthy investment, and you can shoulder through, insisting your presence. And before long, you're watching right from the base of the stage, where you could easily dart onto the stage, backstage, or into the crowd, or straight out the door of the theater, if that's what you'd like. We'll leave you there for a moment. What about the other three of you?
Can I hop straight out of the car and start going, all right, everyone, make a gap, Lord coming through, and just start trying to form up and get these two through to seats as quickly as possible, relying on my cunning disguise?
Absolutely. That makes total sense.
I'll probably say if this can be me assisting them in checks if they need to make them, or whatever it needs.
That's a good point. All right, let's start off by saying, can you please make for me an acting check? And you take a bonus die because you are in disguise.
Behold the role of a lifetime. Yes! I am an usher.
Fantastic.
Forget myself. I have 17 pages of backstory.
You start pulling your companions in.
I stop for a moment because I think I see my sister in the crowd, but that can't be. She died all those years ago on that cold Christmas. Tears glisten in my eyes and I tear myself away. I need this job. You can't lose another one, Stephen. Not another one.
Oh my God. Thank you, Stephen. You're so convincing that someone hands you a pair of keys at some point and asks you if you can also go to the storeroom and get once you've done, of course, taking the people to. No, you basically are able to lead the crew through. And we will say that with this role, not only can you assist them on any actions that they might take, assuming it's appropriate, you will also be able to lead them to prime seats right at the front, pretty near to Elias, which means you will all have similar access.
I was actually going to ask if there are box seats more than ones close, because I want to be able to see Elias, but I also want to be able to see everyone down.
There are absolutely box seats, and you mentioned this, around as you go to pick up tickets and things like that at the desk.
I want to play in just to give Fenton just extra fun stuff. I'll be like, you there, lad, box seats if you will, and to get him to lead us up. Just to keep the facade up.
I access my dormant memories and stride towards the stairs.
So there is only one large box at the back of the theater that overlooks things. This isn't a massive establishment like some of the ones that you might be used to seeing that have tended to survive. This is smaller, but there is a box area at the very top, so you can head up there. There might be one or two other folks up there, but it will be much more private, and you'll have an excellent view. And also, there are staircases nearby that give you easy access to the building.
Can I get it to be private?
Start kicking people out of it, I think.
I just again walk in with the air of, do you know who I am?
Let's see. Absolutely. So you start talking about the box seat, you start heading up. There's going to be a secondary set of staff up there that will be there to assist. You are followed by Colin. Are you attending as well, Professor? Will you be joining everybody in the box?
Don't we need to get the music to someone first?
I feel like that might be an after thing, but we can always give it to...
using it during the play.
I mean, they're gonna play the music during the dress rehearsal.
I don't know. Give it to Fenton. He's good at lying.
Who?
Oh!
Steven!
That's not bad.
Me? What
There's
is
a chance
this?
whoever gets this
I never
music might
learned to
recognize one of us, but he's so deep in his role.
You could absolutely head up to the box, settle in there, and then send Stephen back down to try and deliver the actual music if you'd like.
That's what we should do. Let's do that.
He's going to have backstage access, and I reckon everyone's going to be in a bit of a tizzy before the play, because that's what happens at dress rehearsals. You shunt music into someone's hands, go, it's done, here you go, and they go, oh my god, thank you, and then just everything continues. Because no one has their head screwed on straight at a dress rehearsal. That's not how that works.
Okay, fantastic. So will you be accompanying up to the box then, Professor?
Yes.
Okay. In which
Good
case,
man, come with me.
the
Best seats in the house.
the three of you are going to head up. Then you'll arrive at the top floor where there's some secondary staff. Steven stays for long enough to be able to explain that you need access to the box, which will give you the bonus die that you need before darting off to deliver the music, assuming that you want to do so. Colin, are you happy with that? Okay.
Yes.
Great. In which case, the two staff there are, but there's already, someone in there who's booked to the booth and is and you start to, shout them down and inform them.
No, there's no shouting. There's just like, my good fellow, I'm an acquaintance of Chillingworth and one of the more eminent patrons of the arts. I'm sure you've heard of Lord Bothwell round these parts. If you would be so kind as to ensure that the box is available for me and my friend, I would be extremely pleased.
They're pretty nervous. Do you want to make a credit rating
Yes, I would.
check? And you can do so for bonus die, as I mentioned.
Yay.
Ooh, that's good.
Success either way.
That's a success. Okay, Professor, what are you doing at this point? Can you give us an air of just your what do you look like accompanying Lord Bothwell here?
I don't think he's much of one for putting on airs. I think his eyes are narrowed. Is glaring at every person that crosses too close to him, keeping an eye out for any suspicious occultists nearby.
Fair enough. Well,
Do I spot hidden any?
You keep looking around. There's a strange usher that just ran off before, and looks kind of like somebody who you know from work. But no. Anyway, before long, they will sort of nod. The two staff will head over. One of them raps sharply on the box door and will open it up and say, "Excuse me, Mr. Holcomb." And the door will swing open, and you will see Theodore Holcomb, Professor, the leader of the Pacific Club, stand and turn to face the two of you. I'm afraid you're going to have to... he is in the box, and he has just been informed that a personal friend of Ernest Chillingworth is trying to get in, and he must leave at once. He's a tall man with longer hair than would be customary in the Victorian fashion, but he is impeccably dressed. He turns and observes the two of you carefully, and he hides any kind of recognition if there is any. But either of you could make a psychology check if you would like to.
I can do that.
Ooh. Unfortunately, neither of you are able to read this man. You immediately feel, though, a sort of a ratchet of tension rise in the room. But Mr. Holcomb nods, steps forward, and pauses to look across the two of you, and he says, "Enjoyed the performance. I hope it's everything you expect it to be."
Is there like, how many seats are there in the box?
There's probably about 7 or 8, like probably in 2 clusters.
All right, I'm gonna try a thing. It might be a terrible idea, but I'd like to try it. I will say like Mr. Holcomb. Sorry, did they say Mr. Holcomb?
Yeah, you heard the music.
So, Mr. Holcomb, I understand. I feel rude to remove you from your location for the viewing of this play. There seems to be more space in the box than I initially anticipated. If you would like to remain here with myself and my companion for the duration, I would be very happy to have you as well. I did not mean to remove an individual.
He nods once or twice.
Trying to be charming and pleasant and also just...
Absolutely. Do you want to make a charm check?
Sure. Charming.
Absolutely. Look, he nods and he smiles and he says, "You're very kind, Lord Bothwell. You have not introduced yourself."
No.
And he will turn towards you and say, "But of course, I wouldn't want to impose upon your companion. Would you mind if I remained here, Professor?"
Swing on him.
all in a single breath. It's amazing. Silence now falls over the room, and the awkwardness seems to please Holcomb. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't break it. He lets it sit, and he meets your eyes, Professor, waiting for you to say something.
No.
You don't mind?
No.
Excellent. Thank you then, Lord Bothwell. I'll return to my seat. He turns about, walks back down where he will sit. The two of you can head inside, where you will be able to take your seat. Now, as I said, it's sort of in two clusters. There's a seat of 4 on one side and a seat of 4 on the other. So if two groups wanted to come, will you be sitting right next to Holcomb, or do you want to take the other seats?
No, I'll go and sit over in the other seats. Yeah, I will cede that at some point before we leave the box, I would like to speak to him again.
Absolutely.
If there's an opportunity to do so. But for now, I will take my seat. I will look to the professor and go...
And I will cede at some point before we leave the box. I'm going to push him over the edge.
That's a good plan, isn't it? You're pretty high up. You reckon he'd at least break a couple of limbs.
And just look to the professor and be like, well, Professor, jolly good show.
Good. Sure.
So, in the meantime, Stephen or Colin, you head downstairs with the music in hand and you dart through the aisles. People keep stopping you to ask where they're meant to be going and things like that.
Confidently in a direction.
That way.
My head is elsewhere, James. I'm remembering the first kiss I had in that broom closet over there, and I'm remembering the time we had a staff party under that, I guess, also in the broom closet. Very busy.
The broom closet of our hearts. And you'll head down towards the backstage. Now, you will pass, of course, by Elias Thackeray as you move through the aisles. And the two of you can share a brief nod. If you could possibly recognize Stephen, that is, Elias. I leave that entirely in your hands. But if you want to get any message, if you want to have any communication.
I think now that I know where Elias is good. And I'll make it clear that I'm going backstage.
This could be an opportunity for you to try and get Elias backstage. If you like.
Yeah. You want to go for a walk? You know, have a little look around?
If you're happy where you
Elias?
are, if you're happy where you are.
I think I will look around. Yeah, I'm just like, well, it's gonna work better for me. Yeah, no, yeah. I think 2 and 2 is a good split, not fully split.
I'll loudly say, oh, well, we don't have any storage for those important bags out here, but come with me, sir, and I'll show you. And then lead Elias through the crowd and towards the backstage.
Quite.
I think I am letting a lot ride off the extreme success that you made previously. But look, you are in disguise. This is also part of your training. I think that another role at this stage would be superfluous. So I'll assume that after getting stopped a few times to talk to some stagehands, you will be able to get through to the backstage, where you will see a variety of performers all moving back and forth, talking, preparing. There are dressing rooms, and it all seems, to your eye, Colin, relatively normal.
Pretty standard.
You will see before long, Ernest Chillingworth is walking around the backstage, and he's stopping in with people to check with them and to talk with them. Alone, Elias, and vulnerable, perhaps. But you can approach him at your will. You obviously have the musical papers.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, I'm going to just walk up. She'll be right.
Yep, and I'll be with you, like a step behind, ready to do what needs to be done, I suppose, whatever that may be.
Now, Chillingworth did not meet Elias, so
no.
Presumably no chance of recognition, and you are currently in disguise.
Yeah, I was kind of just gonna say how far it goes.
What is your approach here? Are you going to identify yourself as Colin Fenton, or are you going to try and stay as Stephen?
I'll give you my approach is to walk up and then as hurriedly as possible say, I've been told to deliver this to you, sir. Mm-hmm. This is the finished piece for tonight's performance. I understand you'll be looking for it by now. With my apologies, I'm needed elsewhere. And then scurry across, all the while looking down at my feet and just avoiding facial
That's fantastic. I think that for this particular interaction, actually delivering the papers and not even revealing your presence in any way at this point to Chillingworth, I will ask for a disguise check here, actually, because that's what's doing the heavy lifting more than your acting here.
I agree.
And I'm willing to make a scene if he fails.
Oh yes.
Well, okay. So just before you make a scene, so you could possibly push with a bonus.
But yeah. If he fails, I'm willing to make a scene.
Excellent.
All right, pull me out bodily. Schwang.
Nice.
Oh, no need. Chillingworth sort of takes it and he's almost distracted. Oh, yes, thank you, and takes it. And he doesn't even take time to like put on that sinister sort of coy aura that he's too busy trying to get stuff. Yeah, I know. He just takes it and sends you on your way. No, absolutely. You deliver it, and as far as you're aware, Chillingworth does not know where or if you are in the audience.
Great content. Where do we want to go, Elias?
I think we stay backstage. I would much prefer if we stayed as close to the ones who are in charge of the machinations of all of this as possible. We have the other two up in the box, so in front of the stage, and I think if we make ourselves hidden back here, might be for the best.
Last bad idea, I promise. What do you say you and I try and find a solitary background actor? You clobber the shit out of him and I go on stage.
Now is
part of the performance.
Perhaps not the time, Phantom. Although,
nuts.
If somebody, and I'm looking kind of through cracks in the curtains down at the orchestra pit. Although, if you do need to make a quick dive to destroy an instrument, where better to do so from the stage?
Is there a common...
No, that could backfire badly.
Yeah, but it could be sweet.
Is there a common background costume, Jim? Are there a bunch of like ravens just in black cloaks and hats that like pretty nondescript?
Yeah.
So you're starting to see what the outfits broadly used in this play are, and it seems to be naturalistic. Everybody is dressed in pretty normal clothes. If anything, clothes that skew towards like the lower classes of London. So just sort of everyday wear.
So we're kind of already dressed.
I know
for
where
that
that guy shops.
It's clothes you might be very used to wearing.
It's probably clothes that I'm currently wearing.
Yes,
Okay, all right. Well, I guess in that case, we might just walk out on stage if we feel so
You-
inspired.
yeah.
The usher
Absolutely.
less so.
You have a route there, and the play is starting to kick off at this point. But we will assume that the two of you are now have backstage seating. Basically, you're sort of peeking through. You found a little quiet, sort of undisturbed area as people are moving about. Meanwhile, up above, gazing down from the booth, we have the Professor and Lord Bothwell, who watch as the curtain is drawn and the play begins. Any final actions?
I'm gonna ask my fellow cast out of character. How much do we feel like stirring the pot right now?
I want to see where the play
I could
goes.
stir a
So
pot.
much. So much.
can
I love
stir
a
a
bit of
pot.
pot stirring.
Okay, all right.
Let those
we wanna-
aromas
All
drift
right.
upward.
So in that case, in favor of stirring the pot, as the curtain begins to raise, like as the lights dim, I will just sort of turn and, as an aside, say to Hawcom, you know, I'm surprised to see you here. I understand Chillingworth was not welcome at Pacific Club recently, but I'm glad that you two appear to have made amends. Looking forward to the show. As the lights dim and the curtains open and it begins.
When you look towards Holcomb, he's leant forward and he's hunched, and you can actually see that he's gripping his fist against the outside of the rim of the box. Looks towards you, spots you, and then you can see he's clearly agitated and he knows you're stirring the pot. Whether he takes offense at anything you've said is unclear, but the intention of what you've done is clear, and he kind of
May I? Does that give me an opportunity to make another psychology roll?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Got him.
With a hard success, Holcomb is clearly very, very trained at hiding his.
Do I need an extreme? Because I will make this an extreme if I need.
No. You have got what you needed. What is clear, first of all, is that Holcomb is not super worried about you two. He's definitely aware of who you are, and he seems to, he was putting on a bit of a sinister air, but he's here for the play, and this concern that he has, the tension, he is concerned about what's happening with Chillingworth. And the hostility that you sense, it comes from Chillingworth's name, not the insinuation that, he's friends with him, but he just seems to, be tense around this.
Interesting.
Okay.
So there's a chance, albeit small, that he's not pleased with whatever is going on.
That would be the vibe you start to get. Anyway, let's jump across.
Was it the enemy of my enemy is my temporary ally.
Tenuous ally.
I think the professor would deeply love to ally himself with Holcomb. The play jumps in. I now go and monologue even more than usual. No, I'm joking. We will speed through as I describe effectively what the play is. It's about a bit over an hour long, so it's a proper full-length play, although it is a little bit shorter than some of the longer pieces that are on at the time. It is also very, very naturalistically performed, and it is throughout quite sinister and a little bit off. The play is about a normal man named Bertie, and he lives in a normal house. He's got a wife, he's got a couple of kids, he's working, and he has occasional stresses with his business partners, but life is pretty normal overall. You see a domestic scene for the first 10-15 minutes of the play, and then at one point Bertie emerges. He's on his way to work, and all of a sudden he meets a strange man who is dressed in black. And this man is very different to all the other characters that you have seen so far. His costume is strange, it's esoteric, and he moves in an odd way. And the man in black tells Bertie that his life is a joke and that everything is meaningless. And he tells Bertie that he's actually inside a play and that everybody in his life is an actor, and he is trapped in a cruel joke, and he needs to acknowledge that his existence is meaningless.
I love it.
It's
It's
just like
It's new.
It's Call of Cthulhu Truman Show.
Absolutely. Now, as the man in black speaks, this is very much that sinister monologue style, deeply unsettling going through. And you can start to feel ripples of tension moving through the crowd. Now, none of you are down on the floor, so you don't know how serious this is amongst the people on the ground. But even just watching it, everybody here, you start to feel a little bit tense. I need you all to make a sanity check.
Oh. Is that because we're starting to think that we're all in a play?
Hang on, this is some sort of live performance streamed across the internet.
Yes. One of these days, I will succeed, but today is not that day. I've failed all of my sanity rolls as well.
On a failure, I'd like you to just take a single point of sanity damage, but I'd like you to describe a physical manifestation of that. Does a single tear roll down your cheek? Does your leg start to twitch uncontrollably? Do you find that you're checking over your shoulder and looking at the people near you to see if indeed they are actors?
Elias starts kind of worrying at the flecks of blood that he knows are still under his shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sure that people can see them.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Everybody else?
Lord Bothwell will take out like the slightly bent tuning fork that he has and just starts tapping it gently, which makes an ever so slightly discordant sound because it's not tuned to any one specific note now because of its state. So he's tapping it and you just like, it's not quite an A, it's not quite a B, it's not quite an in between, B flat. It's just like not quite right. And he seems to be like, that's his tick.
Nothing's quite right here. Colin, what about you?
Colin shifts uncomfortably in the uniform and probably just side-eyes the people around, paranoid that folks are going to be coming to kick him out any moment.
Excellent. Professor, you passed the check. Do you actually love this?
This is great. It's fresh, it's new, it's zeitgeisty. It's exactly what the theatre scene has been waiting for. 5 stars.
Writing on his review.
Except for the occultism. That was obtuse. They could have left that out.
Played out.
So brilliant. So the play continues with Birdie eventually sort of leaving this man behind and go, I don't have time to talk to you. I can't listen to any of this. And he goes home and he tries to rejoin his life, but everything is a bit off now even more. His wife has a new hairstyle and one of the actors playing his children has changed. He seems to sort of notice, but also not sort of notice. And then bit by bit, you see all those same domestic scenes that Birdie went through at the beginning of the play, but this time they all have different people in them and they all have different behaviors, and he's becoming more and more distressed and he's getting more and more upset, and it's building towards him having a complete breakdown. All throughout this section of the play, you can particularly hear the music building. It is reinforcing the sinister nature of everything until suddenly there's a little cheerful ditty that comes in. And it just, unfortunately, the music really doesn't land for this part. What's happening on stage is still very sinister, and as the breakdown of Birdie approaches, I need you all to make a sanity check with a bonus die for the cheerful music.
Hey.
If anything, that would just reinforce his knowledge that he's in a play or whatever, if they also just cocked up the music.
Quite possible.
Sanity.
Yeah, pass.
All right.
Show fail.
Oh, no.
Colin, with fail, you're going to take an additional point of sanity
I
damage.
also failed.
Colin, no
annoyingly.
Stephen.
Ooh.
No Colin, no Stephen.
Colin,
Yeah.
Stephen, you take an additional point of sanity damage, and same with you, Lord Bothwell. And I would like you to now push further. What tension, what happens that starts to push you even further into unsettlement, into madness?
I'm gonna start to be like, I can't be back here. I need to find a way. I'm gonna start like pushing past you a little bit to find a back exit so that I can start making
Doing
my... I just need to get out. This isn't where we're supposed to be.
Grab him
Someone's
by
gonna
the
find
collar.
it. Nah, just let me go.
Not. Absolutely not. We are here seeing this through to the end.
This is
I may
wrong.
need you.
Something's gone wrong. They're gonna notice we're back here. The music was wrong, and they're gonna know we were the ones that handed it to them. We need to get out
And
now.
we will deal with that when it happens.
I fumble in my pocket for the switchblade, and I'm holding it from here on out.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I love it. What about you, Lord Bothwell?
I think Lord Bothwell starts humming along with the music, except that he knows how it's meant to sound. So occasionally he hums the correct notes instead of the incorrect notes while he's tapping this discordant tuning fork. I don't know if that is noticed by the professor, but the
That's
professor
so good.
would know, I imagine, the correct notes as well.
Truly, truly sinister. I think you're able to keep it out. You passed the check though, right, Professor?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, you're still fine.
Great
You're still
time.
enjoying this.
Good.
And Elias, you're too busy trying to wrestle Colin to,
Hey.
get affected.
And these artistic types are so unreliable.
So eventually, Birdie has a complete breakdown and ends up screaming at his family, running away. He's broken, he's destitute, and he ends up lost on the streets of London, in tears, ragged and upset. And at this darkest moment, in this horrible point, he's met once again by the Man in Black. And the Man in Black says finally he understands everything. He has seen it. He's seen how useless everything is. And Birdie confesses how completely broken he is, how he is lost, and how all of existence is meaningless. There are powers beyond our comprehension, and we are just specks of dust in the grander cosmos. And the language starts to take on a very distinctly mythos, cosmic horror tone as he laments on the tiny specks of dust that are all humans. Man in Black tells him that there is a way that he can find purpose, that
Don't
he
like this.
can be free.
when they start talking about this, is there any way that I can find something like a rope or something that is tied to a prop and basically just fuck up the stage from backstage? I want to knock something over onto the stage or drop something. Like if there's sandbags for the curtains or something, just like fuck that shit up. Basically.
Absolutely. Do you want to make a mechanical repair check?
Oh boy, not super, but I don't really.
Or if you can propose something else, if you want to propose an alternative, I'm happy to hear it.
Sleight of hand. Might
I'm
also
worse at that. What do you know? No, mechanical repair. I'm actually not too bad at it. Hey, I'm fine at that.
All right,
really
fantastic. So you find one of the sandbags, like that sort of tied up that's holding something from up above, and you head towards it and you start to unravel it. Now, this is very possibly going to get you caught or alerted to, but you can deal with that in a second. Are you taking any action when you see Elias doing this, Colin?
Can you help me with your knife?
I'm a little wrapped up in the performance and the final bits, because this is also possibly going to imply what their flippin' plan is. So I think I'm paying attention to the stage as this is happening. That's it. I'm holding the knife if you want to grab it off me.
Yeah, I'll probably take the knife and I'll just be like, I'll get this right back. As soon as this takes on a mythos flavor, Elias is like, oh, this seems like bad juju. And very, very quickly, the intention is to slice a sandbag off, drop it onto the stage, interrupt the flow, and then get out of dodge because I don't want to be kicked out. I would like to just leave.
I love it. So you start frantically working. Meanwhile, on stage, man continues. He's saying there is a way, there is a force, there is something out there that you can use that can be true. There is something out there that is the truth and that it has been present in your dreams. And the birdie goes, what is it called? What is its name? And the man opens his mouth just as donk, the last syllable is distracted by the loud collapse of a sandbag onto the stage.
Nice.
The front row of people right by are close enough to hear it. And you see violent reactions from them. A couple of them sort of like lean back in their seats and look shocked. Some of them stand bolt upright. One of them leans forward and vomits onto the ground in front of them. But the rest of the audience, who are all leaning in at the edge of their seat, and they're jerked out of their reverie for just a moment. Up in the booth, you have no chance of hearing this. But the two of you...
I would love to have heard it. I think I was straining for it as it happened. I would have been pushing as far forward as I could.
Likewise, as soon as it dropped, I would have been like, did that work? So
you have to hear it, and you know it worked, but you are close enough. You are backstage, and being able to interfere has brought you forward as you hear a name that is all syllables and grunts that is completely indescribable, and a name that you both absolutely know. Can you make a sanity check as you hear the great old one Cthulhu uttered?
Hey!
Cthulhu! Hey, buddy.
so ready. Failure. Yay.
Yes.
Failure.
Right list of you.
I love that, I genuinely, in the time that I have been on this stream, this is the first time it's been Cthulhu, and I'm very pleased.
It's about time.
And
it has too.
Obviously, this is true with the names of all these great beings. The way that we pronounce them is not, these are simplifications, but as it is said on stage in this moment, it is terrifying and it chills you to its core. You can both take a D4 of sanity loss.
Yeah, we can.
Across this shivering, the music swelling, and all of the meaning too.
Yes.
Give me the swap with me. Swap with me.
Red mist.
How
What's
close
your
are we
daily?
to hitting indefinite for the two of you?
I need
halfway there.
halfway.
Okay, good to know. So, Elias, you said that you were going to turn and leave. You had eyed the exit, and rather than getting asked to leave, you're going to make your way out. Colin, meanwhile, you see Elias spin on his heel and begin to stride towards the door. What are you doing?
I'll say, Elias, it's still the after party.
Is the after party held in the theater or is it somewhere else?
Chillingworth Studio. It's at Chillingworth Studio.
Yeah, that's what I don't want to get caught and then not be able to go to it. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna just point to the door.
I'll meet you outside. Yeah, good.
Right. People are going to come to investigate what happened, and you will need to make either an acting check or a disguise check to sort of push suspicion off yourself.
Fast talk at this point, right? Like I'm in the role.
That's a good point. Yeah, make a
Splash
fast
zone.
talk check.
A fast talk's worse, but
No, please make a fast talk check.
You went that way. And so am I.
Yeah, unless
You have so much luck.
I
they will
Scooby-Doo my
eject you
ass.
and sort of, oh, you can't be back here.
Oh, yeah, hang
you're
on.
not Stephen.
Got 80 points of luck.
I want to burn 21 points of luck for this.
Like,
Done.
I feel
It's
like
just- I burned
Dave
21,
having a lot of
Jim.
luck is
Yep.
not a thing.
You
Yeah, I don't
you
want to
commit to your backstory that you invented for Stephen, and it just happens to be true. When you talk about the broom cupboard, they go, "Oh, you were there? Okay, well, you can't be all bad then." And anyway, you're able to sort of throw people off, and with everything happening on stage, the performance is trying to continue. They have to keep going.
Yes.
Back up on stage, the two of you did not. So back up in the box, the two of you did not hear the words uttered, but you saw Holcomb. He like physically move, and he growls almost when this happens on stage. He looks furious.
I will. I think I will like go. Welcome, mate. Are you all right, man?
They're going to keep talking. I just need to hear the rest, Lord Bothwell. I'm sorry. One moment.
Very good.
Blake?
Professor, do we need to get you some water? I will start like talking loudly at the professor.
Oh my god.
You guys are gonna get shriveled to fucking death.
I definitely am doing the oh no, my friend is in trouble, and then excuse me, could we please get some water? Professor, are you all right?
We
Like,
get the
able-
lights on in here.
You were able to so you were able to completely disturb Holcomb. If you're actually trying to disrupt the performance, I'll ask you to make rolls. But in terms of just pissing off the guy in the booth with you, that's totally fine.
Just Holcomb,
mean-
that's fine.
Just Holcomb.
I'm not aiming to piss him off now as much as I'm like, I feel like we might be aligned a little bit, but also I am genuinely concerned about the professor because I don't think I cotton on. I'm not that clever. I think I genuinely think the professor's like having
Dying.
problems. And oh no! Oh dear! Good man! Excuse me!
He's not that old. I'm only 39.
I said good man.
Oh no, yeah, but I mean, it's not like we're all waiting for him to keel over.
No, again, Bothwell is not smart.
That's fine.
It's the
That's fine.
1890s. He's a ripe old
That's
man.
true.
Anyway, the performance continues, and the remaining sort of last section of the play takes on a very different tone. Bertie is now liberated. After hearing the name and after accepting that existence is meaningless, he becomes the master of his own destiny. He is able to walk through, and it shows everything going well for him. His family love him. All his business partners fear and respect him. He makes a fortune. Everything is going well, and all the while he continues to be absurdly humorous and to laugh at the absurdity of the world around him and how ridiculous things are. It ends with him inside his grand new office at the peak of his new career, looking towards victory in the future and beginning to laugh dementedly before a prop is knocked down from up high and a noose drops down from above and begins to swing, and he will walk towards it, clamber into the noose, and then just as he would hang himself, everything goes dark and the curtains shut before there is a curtain call.
Yeckin' out.
The last section of the play is still sinister and it is still creepy. With everything that you know about what's going on, you will all need to make a sanity check,
Oh, yeah.
except for you, Elias, because you
He's
get
going to the pub.
outside into the fresh air and are able to sigh with relief. We'll come back to you in a second, but first of all, the
I feel pretty
others.
good about myself, to be honest.
Is the professor coughing and spluttering enough that we might be more distracted? Like I might be more distracted, or both of us are more distracted about the coughing and spluttering than the play itself.
I think I was keeping it up during the key bits that Holcomb
okay.
needed to
Yeah.
hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
There would also be like, yes, but in which case you will get no information from the final act of the play.
That's right.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Does the music help? Are we still in the like, oh, there's a weird melody at this
I
point?
think the music will definitely help at this stage, so you can take a bonus die.
Yeah, it's not gonna help me. Oh wait, I was meant to have lost. That should...
Oh, all good in the hood. Hard.
All good.
Success.
So this is
Finally!
Professor, you actually managed to not take any sanity damage throughout.
Just enjoyed the performance
That's right.
the whole way.
Yeah. I enjoyed the good bits and had some opinions about the occulty bits, but overall, a good night was had.
What about yourself, Colin? Colin, you have failed again.
I have.
Yeah.
You will take an additional point of sanity loss. And if you would like to give us like a now without Elias here to hold you back and to force you, do you flee the performance before you see the noose fall, or what's your reaction to watching?
No,
the
I
end?
think I'm completely drawn in. I think I'm also like I'm watching the whole thing with bated breath. And as I see everything going to the climax, and given I'm at backstage, as the curtains drop, I am going to quite not uncharacteristically, but I'm going to immediately head onto the stage. I want to make sure that Old Mate's not going to actually top himself, and actually kick the chair under him. So I think I'm very good, and I'm kind of casting, not abandoning the disguise, but very clearly, like, I am concerned that he might actually kill himself, and others might see that as suspicious.
I completely get you. So first of all, you can lose a point of sanity damage, and as you rush forward towards this man, I mean, you've seen this, you know what sinister things can happen. You are convinced that this man has been controlled by Chillingworth and that he has killed himself. And as you rush on, you can see in the shadows with the lights down, the body beginning to just sway lifelessly. And as you rush over and you grab a hold, suddenly the man moves, and you can see all that the noose is not properly around his neck. It's attached to a harness. It's all faked.
Good.
But he sees the terror in your eye, and he quickly says, "Don't worry, it's all a joke. It's a performance. It's just," and that kind of rolls in, and you just feel more upset as he unhooks himself and then says, "You need to get off stage. It's curtain call. You need to get this man." Yeah.
I turn back, but I'm kind of a little out of it, a little shaken and everything, and I will head back to where I was.
Fantastic. The curtains will open, people will come forward, they will bow one by one. Most of the crowd, it seems to be very, very happy with the play. They stand up and they applaud. A couple of people look grumpy or annoyed, but the reception is warm and trends towards this was a great success more than anything else. As people are coming forth, Theodore Holcomb is eventually going to stand up very abruptly and turn out and walk into the center of the box, where he will look towards the two of you. He hesitates for a second, and then he raises a finger and he says, these occultists, Professor, they go too far sometimes, don't they?
They do. What do you know about that? Well, cool.
Well, I know that often these people, they think they have protection from the consequences of their activities. They think that they have friends with connections in the police who make sure that nobody can act against them. But he doesn't. He straightens his coat and says, I hope you'll enjoy his party. Good day to both of you.
Day, Mr. Holcomb. I hope we shall meet again at some point. Discuss the play a little more. I found myself interested in its contents, and I feel you may have a better understanding of it than I currently do. I love a good chat between artistic aficionados.
He will look over you with a sort of slightly different eye. Can you make a charm check?
Certainly. I'm also implying just, like, he understands the content from an artistic perspective, not necessarily I'm implying he understands it from an occultist perspective.
So to be clear, you are not implying any occultism here.
I mean, the play was about the occult things, but I am more implying, like, I would like to discuss this play with you as an appreciator of the arts.
Right. Yeah.
As the main thing, and then he can read into maybe I'm implying something else, but the main thing I'm trying to get across is. So
I mean, here you know, Lord Bothwell is a social creature, and as is Holcomb. The key here is he is trying to read. Were you trying to say to me that you're interested in the occult? And
I am trying to say to him, I am interested in a business acquaintance. I want, like, you just said something to us that was helpful. Mm-hmm. So you don't hate us, or at least your current, like, your goals are enough aligned with ours that you gave us something that we potentially needed.
I don't know. I thought he was saying that he was an occultist.
No, he was specific. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but the read I got was people like Chillingworth think they can get away with shit because they have the protection of people in higher places who have connections in the police. Chillingworth does not. So if we want to get rid of him, the police will arrest him for like dumb shit, is essentially the vibe I got.
I thought he was talking about himself when he was saying all that.
So I think that
well, he specifically said Chillingworth does not.
Yeah, I think you were both right here.
Oh,
he was saying Chillingworth doesn't have those friends, but those friends are me.
Yes.
So if you make in terms of business arrangement, then I won't get you to make a charm check. And
I'm happy to make one if that will.
That's okay. It's not gonna. I don't think it's going to change very much at this stage. He will nod and he will say, "I will alert you if the Pacific Club has a vacancy."
You are incredibly kind, Mr. Hawkham. Enjoy your evening.
He will depart after that. Within a few moments, Chillingworth will come forward. He will begin to. He will take his bows. He will begin to talk about the after party, and he very enthusiastically invites everybody in the audience there. And before long, people start to file out of the theatre, leaving you all to act. But first, Elias, what did you do in the time you had outside? You can see all of the various aides and staff of the noble folk inside that are lingering around. You can see carriages. You could, go and make additional preparations, whatever you would like.
Ooh. I think I would probably try and see if I could circle around and see if there was any way to see into Chillingworth's office or whatever, to see if there was a way to like spy on Chillingworth at the end of the play, or see if I can catch him going out a back entrance or just something like that. Right? If I want to see if I can get a sneaky look at Chillingworth,
you absolutely
as
can.
the play concludes, like even if it's climbing up and peering in a window or something.
Make a spot hidden check. Oh, fantastic. Okay. That is still technically over 50 and over, right? So it is not a fumble, but it is a failure. You try and have a look pretty close to throughout the theatre to try and catch a glimpse of Chillingworth.
As I'm maybe I don't actually leave. Maybe I'm just circling through the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you are not going to find him until right before he goes on, and it is unfortunately, unless you would like to push this, but it is unfortunately because you were looking in the wrong place. You think he's going to be hiding away or outside, and you will eventually find that he is right behind the stage pretty much the whole time, basically opposite where you and Colin were, but just you didn't have eye lines on each other, and he was watching the whole time doing the yes powerful stuff, kind of micromanaging the actors.
Okay, now let's leave then.
All right, fantastic. In which case, outside, you can get a couple of sort of breaths of fresh air, and you will notice that leaving, all of you start to feel slightly dazed. This was a very trying experience, and everything feels a little bit unreal as you come down and you gather outside. You feel upset, and you are not sure what the rest of the evening holds, but you don't know how much longer your sanity is going to last. Elias, you got a good breath of fresh air and were able to
Much a bit earlier.
focus. you can have a bonus die on your next sanity check, since you have been removed from the sort of ongoing build towards this.
I like that you're just describing what it feels like coming out of like a really intense theater experience,
Yeah.
regardless of whether there's Cthulhu bullshit. Like the number of times I've walked out and been like, I'm not sure what's real anymore, because that was, oof.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
So outside, you know that people are going to start heading towards Chillingworth's house, or they are going to head home. What are the collection of you doing when you reconvene? What is the conversation? What is the plan?
I suppose we should make sure that, well, Chillingworth's going to have some idea that that wasn't the real music he was expecting.
Right. But I wasn't spotted when we handed it over, and the young master actor over here did quite a good job of disguising himself. So I don't think he would be aware that we're the ones responsible.
Aye, but he is going to be aware that it didn't
Yes.
have the desired effect.
We also,
Yeah.
so far, haven't seen anything of truly sinister. The people were perturbed and confused, but it makes me think that the actual... none of this has been worth someone dying for, even from their sinister and, strange outlook. I think what is to come will be more dire. I think we still need to go to the after party.
Oh, absolutely. I would like to also get an eye on the individuals in the front row who did in fact hear the final few words of the play, and seemed to have quite a severe reaction to it, if I'm not very much mistaken.
Not only that, the actor who spoke the name that caused all that trouble may know a bit more than the average board reader.
I did
Actually,
see
what
him
happened
after.
to him? Yes.
I saw him
Was
after
he
the fact,
perfectly
and he
fine?
was very, normal and seemed to be concerned that I was concerned, and just.
No,
seemed
talking about
generally-
the man in black was the one who
Yeah,
spoke the
the-
word,
Oh, I thought you were
right?
talking about Bertie.
I assumed, and I will continue to assume, that the man in black was Chillingworth, because I assume we did not see Chillingworth in any other role.
Was it? Was it like a man like in like a a one-piece suit or something that we couldn't see his face? I just assumed it was just a
No,
dude
it was
in a hat.
It was not Chillingworth.
Because I saw him at the end, like I ducked down, come back, and yeah.
That would have been a good twist. If you if you're
who is
watching at
it?
home and you're planning on running the scenario from Cult of Cthulhu, read it for me. Tell me if that would make sense to have that as a twist and run it that way at home. Because of course you
Twists
can get
don't need to
Cult of
make
Cthulhu
sense.
from.
You just jerk the
Chaosium.com.
plot in another direction every now and then.
Yoink!
Figure it out later. You figure it out later.
The Prestige.
I will. Oh god, that movie.
Yeah.
Oy. I will relay to the other two that Hawken was in the box, and that he may not be as adversarial as we assumed, at least for the time being. He does appear to at least be as unimpressed by all of this as we are, although perhaps for different reasons.
Just because he's unimpressed with this doesn't mean he doesn't have his own machinations up his sleeve.
Oh no, I firmly believe that the man is just as interested as the contents of the play as Chillingworth is. He just disapproves of putting it on in a public manner in this way. At least that's my assumption.
And either
his
way,
dirty business does happen behind closed doors.
It does not relate to the task with which we have been handed. It does not seem that he had anything to do with young Master Charles's demise, and therefore, regardless of how spooky the man is, I can't bring myself to care.
It also does appear that should we wish to get the police involved, although, as I've mentioned before, preferably not, Chillingworth no longer has the kind of friends in high places. He would need to avoid such ramifications.
Well, that is good news. We were saying this while we're on the way to the after party. We were
Excellent.
in motion.
In which case, as you continue to talk, you will soon arrive, quite quickly actually, it's not too far, outside of Chillingworth's studio in Soho. Once again, this tall, sort of thin building on the corner. The cold night air has done a little bit to make this unreality kind of fade away, but it hasn't done enough. And as you look around and all the people that are moving about and going about their business throughout the city, you can't help but wonder if any of them are actors themselves. What has been said in the play is lingering with you. When you arrive at the door and you knock, unless you want to have any kind of conversation beforehand.
No, just groaning to myself.
I will say that I continue to every now and again hum a couple of bars from the piece that are different to what we heard.
Lovely, excellent. The door will be opened by a staff member in sort of some bright garish outfit, and you hear this blast of music and laughter coming from upstairs. And when you enter the house, it is really like entering another world. It is just a loud, rambunctious party. Nothing wild and like horribly sordid, but everything is just a bit off, and you can see people moving around, laughing, discussing all the themes and things that happened inside Loki's gift. And you can feel this tension that was in all of you start to build and build and build as you observe the multi-story house and the people moving through it. Inside, what is your plan?
Is there a coat check?
There is somebody who's taking care. There's not like a formal coat check area, but once you get upstairs, there is somebody who's taking care of everyone's pieces.
Can I take some of you? Can I take your coats? I want to get into the coat check room.
Oh, yep.
I'll also put your coats there, but I do want to just mostly get into the coat check room. My intent is to go up there.
Are you still dressed as
I've taken off the hat, but I've got the rest of it still on.
Do you mind if I just turn around to you and just go, Fenton, and hand you my coat and walk in?
Absolutely. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, and then with a bundle...
take the professor's coat.
With a bundle of coats, I want to head up to the coat check room, go like, all right, mate, just dropping these in. Dibbity-doo. Drop those in, and then I want to cunningly disguise myself in the wealthiest coat I can find, something with furs and trim. And when I re-emerge, behold, the prince of wherever the hell.
I love it.
I want to change.
Absolutely
Change
makes sense. Basically, they don't have like a formal, like this is just his studio studio where he does all his work. But they've put like a room to the side where everyone's storing their stuff and somebody's taking care of everyone's effects. When you walk in, there's one sort of bedraggled staff member. You're able to drop things off. Make a disguise check for me.
Swang. I'm also going through the pockets and just grabbing any cash I find. These people can do that. Of the wealthy looking ones.
A little bit of theft, always important.
Nuts. I will spend 24 points of luck.
Earning the luck. No, absolutely.
Earn your luck.
You can slam a coat on, and before long, you will be mirrored as one of the many wealthy people that is amusing themselves inside the studio, and you will be able to dart out. No one really stops you, and before long, you can return and rejoin your companions, unless they want to take any particularly major actions before Colin is back.
I would like to find whomever is serving alcohol.
Yes.
And get a relatively stiff drink.
Yes.
And knock one of those back before picking up another.
I will take the whole tray and be a server.
Oh, hey, yeah.
And then I would like to go and find Chillingworth to congratulate him on a fine performance.
All right, fantastic.
And I would like to basically take the tray under the guise of I'm helping the Lord Bothwell here, and he will need this at his side at all times.
Oh yes, I will. Yes, please. I'm going to take the advantage of the if you get pissed.
Yep.
But I don't know if that's enough to get me drunk yet.
You can start knocking back drinks. You'll need to make a Constitution check, and that will influence that. If you fail, you will take penalties to basically everything that you do. But you may have a bonus of sanity. Yes, Professor.
I'm going to try to find the actor who played the Man in Black, because that's a loose end. I don't like loose ends.
Fantastic.
And you know what? If we're splitting up, we're splitting up. I'm going to try and find the people in the front row, see how they're faring.
Okay, brilliant. Now,
because I have my drink tray, I can go anywhere.
These are all very, very good points. First of all,
but then the house is on fire, so you can't do anything.
No, first of all, I just want to do this drink thing. Are you trying to get drunk, Lord Bothwell? Or is this just thematic?
I'm gonna say for the moment it's thematic, but there is an essentially. I would like to start. I would like to establish I have access, and if I need to, I've started the process, but I am pacing myself at the moment.
Excellent. Colin, it takes you a second to rejoin everybody, but they will all end up in heading to basically a relatively similar area. So as you go through, the party seems to get more and more ridiculous the higher you go, and by the time you get to the top floor, you know the events that are happening inside each one are wilder. There are people who are trying, to recreate pieces of the play and talking and drinking more rambunctiously. When you get to that top floor, which is where you saw Chillingworth the last time, this is where you are going to find all three of the targets that you described. Specifically, they are all gathered in a large drawing room that is just by where Chillingworth's office was. These are the people who seem to have the most attachment or the most presence or the most direct involvement with the mythos elements of the play. And in this room, the tone is much different. Everyone is quiet, and they are all gathered around, and they are admiring some kind of artwork in the center of the room and quietly muttering to each other and sort of talking and nudging. You can spot Chillingworth, you can spot the actor who played Man in Black, and you can spot a couple of people who are in the front row who heard the name. You would start to go close, and Colin, you can have joined at this point to try and catch a glimpse of what they're doing, but before you can, you are going to get blindsided. And this is by Ruth Jones, the young woman who spoke to you as you were leaving the house last time and said something bad was going on. She hurries over, and before you can step inside the room, she says, you came back. You saw it then. You saw everything. It's awful. I think I know what he's up to. I can tell you, but you'll need to come with me. It's somewhere private.
Who's she talking to? All of us?
The four of you. She intercepts you before you can enter this room. And Colin, you have rejoined by this point.
May I make a psychology roll?
Absolutely. Sure.
I would. Do I actually want to do that or not?
Split up, gang.
I think we should.
You may have.
I'm going to also make a psychology roll if I can, and just like squint at her.
Sure. The two.
I don't know her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fresh eyes, y'all. Fresh eyes.
She seems like with a regular success, she seems like a terrified young girl. She seems like she's seen some pretty horrible stuff, and she is maybe no longer super stable.
Ooh. I'm going to kind of be looking nervously at the room because I forgot to solve this for Colin. I've got to find out what happened to Charles. I've got to find out what happened to Charles. But also this young woman appears fairly distressed and may have some good information. Torn.
I can explain everything. Just come with me. It'll only take a minute or two. And you probably don't want to go in there. She points at the room.
Does someone want to stay here and watch the door?
I'm going to kind of subtly to the others just be like, she is cuckoo.
I think we've all gathered that.
Two of us should stay here. Let's split up into two of us stay here. I would say Elias and I could be unnoticed, given they don't know Elias, and I am in a cunning disguise. It's me, Colin, your actor friend.
And I've got my tray. I could just very much just be staff.
We could say, or otherwise though, Ashley and Bonzo are probably the most useful ones to actually do something here, so we leave you two. Deal with this choice. I'd actually rather go with Ruth, personally.
I want to hear from her.
Okay. Do you want to do
I'm
that
a little
split
bit put off by how unhinged she seems to be with that psychology roll. I think I'm just like,
I will stay here with Elias.
Yeah.
Because that actually honestly makes the most sense. I think I'm just gonna keep an eye on this. Elias, would you kindly, given that I'm not a fighter and you are, and then we'll let the occultist and the other occultist,
young dilettante,
the thespian, go.
Right. So the two of you will dart across with Ruth. She takes you towards a staircase that seems to be like sort of a service staircase leading into the back of the house. And the two of you are left alone at the top floor. What is your intention, the two of you, just so I know what you're both going to get up to?
Sir, I believe we should go in. I believe time is of the essence. I do not think waiting in the hallway will do us any favors.
Very good. Yes, I mean, I did want to congratulate Chillingworth on his play. I see no reason to deviate from that intention. I merely wanted to congratulate the man and then go down and enjoy the party.
Quite, sir. Very wise of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, my intention is absolutely just being sociable.
Fair enough. In which case, the two of you will step inside to this room where you know that everybody is. There's quite an atmosphere. When you walk in...
Sorry, I think now is the time for me to get slightly drunk. I think that just works in terms of like what I... Yeah, just delightful. I want to enjoy myself.
Absolutely. Would you please make a constitution check for me?
Oh, rude. Rude.
All right. You knock, boom, a large...
How much is that? 35?
35 points of luck. Now, the penalties for alcohol, for being drunk, are pretty bad. You basically take a penalty die on everything you do. So might be
funny though.
Might be the time to use luck.
Look, I do have enough luck to make that a success.
Do it.
But then I'm running on like no fucking luck.
Yeah.
So
then
yes.
we push it.
Yeah.
Then exactly. That just
I mean, I
means
could push this, but then I can't luck it after that. So yeah, you may have 35 points of luck, which takes me down to 19.
You didn't realize how tense you were as you lift up the drink and suddenly everything's swimming, but you're okay, and you will now have immunity to sanity damage of 2 point. You'll have a 2 point buffer. Yeah, I think knocking back a few makes sense. But as you sort of feel this kind of tension wash over you, you'll step in and you can see...
I would like to have another glass. Like, I'm just, nursing another glass as I walk in with an affable smile on my face.
Perfect. Everybody in the room is gathered around an enormous statue. This tentacled, writhing mass, an idol that looks very, very similar to the man in black in the way that, the costume was sort of set together. And you are absolutely convinced that in some way this is a depiction of whatever horror has been named within the play. Both of you need to make a sanity check as you realize that the people in quiet contemplation of this thing, several of them have their heads down, they are muttering, and will occasionally step forward and reach forward and touch it, as if in worship.
Yep, seems like a thing.
Fine, seems normal to me.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you are going to take a point of sanity damage.
No, I'm not.
Yes, and on a fail.
Oh, fuck up. A D4. All right, let's see if I can roll under. Well, I roll a 2 or less. Roll 1d4. Ah, bugger.
You get one.
Yes. Okay.
So it's 3. Like, it doesn't knock.
So once
off.
it's broken through, you just take the hit. How are you looking now, Lord Bothwell? How is your sanity looking?
Oh, I got a little bit further to go.
Okay.
I think I am. I'm still humming. I'm still humming. Maybe a little louder now that I've had a couple more drinks. Loud enough that perhaps Elias might be able to hear.
Shoot him just kind of a, what are you doing? Look, like a...
And I'm definitely like going through the alcohol a little quicker than perhaps I would want to.
Perfect. Okay, we'll jump away from the two of you now before any conversation starts as you spot this idol, and we will leap across to this side stairway where Professor and Colin, you were taken through, and you can see that this staircase leads probably down into the kitchens. It's built alongside the dumb waiter, and it's right next to the staircase that leads into the attic, where as you approach, as last time, you can still smell a slight scent of some kind of, odd odor. You presumably this is the opium usage that you detected when you were there last time. But once you get into this side area, Ruth immediately leans forward and she says, I know what he's planning. He says that he needs life to prove life or something. I think he's going to sacrifice people.
Oh my God. Do you
He's
know
got
who?
He's got He's been pulling people in. I don't know. The party's full of people, and he's trying to convince everybody. He says that they have to be willing, but he's figured out stuff. He's paid people downstairs, and he thinks they might, and he's got people upstairs that he's giving all kinds of things to, and they might, and if not, he thinks the play might push some people forward. All he needs is for them to say yes once, and that'll satisfy the conditions of the spell. That's what he's saying.
This is happening tonight?
I think so. This is what it's all led up to. This is what the play was for.
Is this what happened to Charles? Was he sacrificed as part of whatever this is?
I think Charles just went mad. I don't think he could take it. What they're looking into, it's terrible. It haunts your dreams. It twists you. It makes you wicked. I've seen terrible things. I've seen visions, and she starts to describe things to you, and you can't help but notice she's layering things on.
Oh boy!
And as in, like, she can't help herself. They're pouring out, and it becomes very acute to you that your sanity is being tested too. Could the two of you be put in a position where you would agree to be sacrificed? Colin, you got pretty close to buying into the play. Both of you need to make a sanity check as Ruth recounts these visions, these dreams, these nightmares.
Not a chance.
Come on.
You need to take a point of sanity damage, Colin.
Let's go.
How are we looking? Pretty close?
Oh, we're getting real close.
Colin, you will let me know when you become indefinitely insane, won't you?
Oh, you'll know. I'm real close, Jim.
Excellent.
I'm doing fine.
I'm not going to say exactly how close because I think it's more fun not to know.
Yes.
But it's getting tight. It's getting there.
Ruth continues. People in the attic, people down in the basement. The keys, one of his friends has them. He's in the room with the thing, the statue. I don't know what to do. What do I need to do?
Well, so some of the people have already volunteered. They've already said they'll be sacrificed. Is that right?
They're his backups, I guess. He's waiting for people. He's hoping people at the party will step forward and volunteer more openly. But for those who won't volunteer freely, he has some that he's paying, some that I think he's drugged. Make it easier.
Where's he going to do the sacrificing? If we can get there, and if we can remove the tools, remove whatever he needs to actually fuel this, we can cut this off at the head.
Under the gaze of the idol. That's all I know.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Seems like we should, and we could also try ending this party sooner rather than later.
If we end the party and he still has the idol, he'll just do it again. He'll just do it another day. We have to get the idol.
We can do both. Let me think.
There's no time to
The
think.
one thing I know about old-timey London homes is before they were connected to the sewers, they'd have a cesspit somewhere in the basement.
Yes, very likely.
And if
basement has
that
been
was
mentioned.
damaged somehow, you could make a stink. I think that's probably the most effective way to clear out a house party.
Pretty good.
Don't have the
An idea.
tools.
That said, these people are pretty drunk. They're pretty rowdy.
Yeah.
It's true.
Bunch of weirdos.
Yelling fire would probably do it. You don't need to necessarily
get the idol.
set a
I want that
fire.
idol.
I'll be honest, that was my first idea. And then I thought of something I've said before, which is all RPG campaigns eventually turn to arson. Maybe this
let me
worked,
play,
But look, it's just such a
I'm not
neat
saying we have to
solution.
set fires. We just
Well,
need
also-
to yell fire.
Sorry, yeah, because also we might kill a lot of people. Like, we're like, oh no, he couldn't sacrifice people as we light the house on fire and bar the doors.
Although, if they all die without consent, problem solved.
No.
We need to get the idol. I'm gonna go and get the idol.
All right, that's a good start.
Yeah.
I do really appreciate, he's gonna kill them with consent.
So we should kill them without
So we should
consent.
kill them without consent.
So,
Yeah.
Ruth kind of hovers back, not sure what to do. As Colin, you spin around, you open the door, and you stride directly towards the drawing room
Yeah,
where
Ruth
you
to
know
make us think.
this idol is. Ruth will have described it to you during
All right.
the
Ruth, could you try to bring the party to an end by sabotaging it? You could break the wine bottles, spoil the food, make sure that the party's going to end sooner rather than later.
He's got wine, liquor, hordes of it. He's got staff, he's got people. If I start smashing everything, they'll hold me down and take me away.
No, we don't want that. All right.
Is your fire?
You've done good. We'll take it from here.
All right.
I say with that much confidence.
All right. Meanwhile, Colin, you emerge into we will emerge into the room in just a second, but beforehand there will be a chance for Elias and Lord Bothwell to have any conversations they would like to with Chillingworth. Around the idol, when you walk in and you join Chillingworth, his eyes flick up and he spots the two of you. And he will loop around and he will arrive right next to you both with a brief nod. He will say, I'm glad to see you, Lord Bothwell, and good day. I don't believe we've met. Are you one of Lord Bothwell's staff?
I am, yes, sir.
Well,
He
fantastic.
likes to have me and then kind of like jiggle the tray close.
I'm holding my drink. You're like, Chillingworth, I just wanted to say how exemplary that performance was. Really, really interesting commentary. Where did you get such an idea?
Well, I believe that it's true, all of it. I think that it comes from a truth deep within all of us.
Well, that everyone around was an actor? That'd put someone in a rather strange state of mind.
You don't think it's true? He kind of leans in very close to you.
Well, I know I'm currently in a room with an actor, so currently, yes. But universally, I suppose we all play our roles in our own way, don't we? This is what I mean. I liked the play. It made me think. Breath of whiskey.
The Lord is quite the thinker.
I'm very glad. Really quite glad that you enjoyed it. And you seem to be so fixed on the meanings. This is another piece of artwork I've put together recently. He smiles, gesturing towards the idol. Come, touch it. You'll find the craftsmanship. Very exquisite.
Tiny shake of his head.
Yeah, I sort of look at it and I go, oh, it's beautiful, but I wouldn't want to sully it with touch. I mean, you know, oils on the skin, that sort of thing. But
Bothwell, I'll be insulted if you don't.
No, I see. Well, can't have that now, can we, Elias?
Elias is gonna just slide his eyes towards Bothwell. No, I suppose not, hoping desperately that he's got a plan. Other than just touching the idol.
Nope.
I'm very close to just punching this man in the face, by the way.
I will like, you know, as I sort of like, I want to sort of go, I was somewhat surprised that Hawker made an appearance. Didn't seem to appreciate the play as much as myself, but yes, I thought you mentioned that you and he were not on the greatest of terms.
So he walks towards the idol.
I will slowly. I am relatively large, and I take my time. People walk on my timeline.
Yes.
He laughs,
Colin.
walks around to the other side of the idol, and then stops and waits. He doesn't answer you. And he looks expectantly, waiting for you to approach. And you become acutely aware that as he has moved in and taken the central position, the eyes of many of the other worshippers, people in this room, have flicked towards you.
I will smile, and I will look at him, and I will wait for a response, because I am a lord.
You ask a
He
question.
will respond to me. That is what happens. I wait for a response.
I'm going to shuffle kind of around the outside, as the way the help does, puts himself out of the way in the corner, specifically the corner behind Chillingworth. I want to be able to make a lunge at him if I gotta.
He lets the silence stand for a long time. Then he says, I don't know about Holcomb, and gestures towards the idol.
Colin?
Yeah, at what point does Colin walk in? Because
you've got another uncomfortable couple of seconds first, unfortunately. He's definitely wielding this situation.
in that case, I would sort of like to lean in and have a look at it in the way that I don't know if anyone else can do this. I can unfocus my eyes at will. So I'm going to
And
look
you're
in and
shit-faced, so
and I'm
yeah.
shit-faced. I'm gonna
Now,
start to go ahead and inspect the statue, genuinely inspect it from a artistic perspective. Just as you've told me this is a statue you had created, and told me to appreciate the craftsmanship. I am going to start appreciating the craftsmanship.
I'm going to say to Lord Bothwell as he leans in, so you might want to take care. It looks very expensive, and you are quite inebriated, if I may.
Exciting.
I've lent in.
You have?
I'm relatively solid.
Yes, you are.
I'm very happy to touch this thing, if it means I accidentally trip and fall into it and push it over.
You absolutely can. So let's lean into that for a second. So first of all,
That's still touching it.
Yes,
that
I
still
know.
counts.
Yes, I know.
Okay. You lean in.
I'm gonna go mad anyway.
And you look close at it. And you go deliberately unfocus your eyes. And this is exactly what a sanity check is. It's like, I'm not looking, I'm not taking this in, but you can't help but, it's so weird and your eyes are twisting and you're trying to not do it, but, you're peeking through, closed fingers. You can't look away. I'm going to get you to make a sanity check as you approach. Now, before you do it, if you want, you hear the words of Elias in your head. You can also hear the footsteps of Colin approaching at this point. He has a very distinctive gait when he is stomping around, and he's the only person who isn't waiting with bated breath to see what happens next. Before you make the sanity check, if you would like, you can just commit, you can lean in, you can lunge, and you can try and shove this thing over. It is heavy, but you could fall onto it. That means you will touch it, and we'll roll the sanity checks together for whatever the penalty of touching it is.
Yep, let's do it. I don't have the greatest of. I'm gonna say I'd like to do this with my size more than my strength, because I am happy to fall on it to do this and then therefore touch it. But yes, that is.
Sure, that makes sense to me.
Look, 50-50 shot.
Let's. I'll tell you what. We'll do size, but since you're falling onto it, not using smart strength, even if you succeed, you'll take a point or two of damage as you actually collapse onto it.
And if it doesn't fall, I will rush in under the guise of, oh my god, my lord, and also try and shove it.
Excellent.
Is there a point? Can I do this with a bonus then?
We'll come back to the bonus, but very quickly, Professor, you have turned away from Ruth. You can see Colin storming in just as you hear oh, as somebody tumbles and the yells from inside the room. What's your immediate action?
Look for something flammable.
Gaze across to Ruth, and she's looking. She gestures down for a second and says, "The kitchens are." And I imagine you bustle past your mind to a certain extent. All right, inside the room, make for me a size check. Smack, and the idol begins to teeter. It's big, it's a sizable piece, but it moves and tips off to one side as you touch against it, and immediately you feel as if you have touched something that is real, that is wet, that is alive, and you start to have every dream that you've ever had across the last many decades of your life come creeping back into your head. Your breath catches in your throat. Yes.
I was gonna say, if I were to make this a hard, would that mean that it topples faster?
No, you've got the topple in front.
Okay, cool.
It's
All
going.
right.
It's going.
Cool.
Please make for me a sanity check.
Yeah. Come on. Insanity.
Hey.
Let's go.
Stop.
So touching the idol is enough to completely overwhelm you, and you feel the truth of the play that you saw and these sort of fragments of this image, this message drill itself into your head. Maybe for a second you see around you all of the lights dim, and it seems as if the idol gazes towards you for just a moment. Can you please make for me a D4 check, and you will lose that much sanity.
Okay. Yeah.
Oofed. Bye.
That is exactly what I needed to hit indefinite.
No.
All right.
I am 11 for 11. Let's rock and roll.
So one of the beautiful things about one of the ways that this scenario can go, and one of the ways the Cults of Cthulhu scenarios can go in general, is that we are fighting against the greatest and darkest and terriblest powers that are around. So, Lord Bothwell.
Hello.
As you feel the insanity overtake you, first of all, can you please make for me, this is your indefinite value. First of all, it's not a bout of madness, which means you do not make an intelligence roll. You are merely overcome.
All in.
You're all in, and you can, if we were diving into character sheets, you could feel free to add idol to your treasured possessions. And, significant people, you could add Ernest Chillingworth, I worship him, and Great Cthulhu, I worship him. As when you become mad and you start to knock it down, you immediately go, oh, and try to catch it and stop it from falling upon the ground. From here, you could absolutely, you can play into your character, but I would like you to now play until this bout of madness resolves, if it does, as an aid, as best you understand it, to Chillingworth and to his goals and objectives within this place. So what are you doing?
As I understand his goals and objectives, because I didn't hear anything Ruth said.
Yeah.
So I only know that he's got a statue and he wants people to touch it.
Yep, you know the message of Cthulhu, like you've heard the truth, so I can imagine that you'd be like, you must also see the truth, touch the statue.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. Yes.
All
Very
right.
good. Do I need to roll a d10 to see how long this lasts? Or is it...
This
is indefinite. This
is
just
currently
goes.
an indefinite bout.
Great.
And there are some expanded details here. So we're kind of going to go across into dexterity order because that's probably the easiest way to resolve what is happening next. So can you all please provide me once more with your dexterity?
Soy first.
50.
All right.
That's right. We're all 50 except Colin.
That's right. Okay. In which case, I always like to use. I always used to like to use players go first. And currently, since you are acting as an evil NPC, Art, we will put you last.
Why does this keep happening to me? God damn it! This is like the third time.
Could be because of the
You
choices
tried so
make.
hard
Who knows?
to build like a jovial, happy, not suspicious character, and you're still the evil NPC.
You
well,
still
it just,
turned
evil. It's on brand, really. At this point.
I guess so. So, Colin, you're first up. You step into the room just in time to see Lord Bothwell fall, push this thing, and then stop and collapse, and you see his eyes shift. Do you want to describe a change in demeanor, Lord Bothwell?
So I've said that Bothwell isn't particularly smart. That's
Yep.
not true. He has an intelligence of 60. He's
Ooh.
actually relatively shrewd. He's not the smartest man in existence, but he's quite shrewd. And I think there is he also has the same level of intimidate as he does charm. So I think there is a hardening that happens over his whole demeanor. He goes from being like jovial and large to someone who has the expression and demeanor of a bouncer. Like, I'm very big, and if you fuck with me, it will end badly for you. I think also it is quite evident that he does, in fact, have a handgun on him.
Okay. Fantastic. So, Colin, what do you do when you step inside and you see the scene?
Is there a window?
There are windows that overlook the streets. There is also the dumb waiter that I referred to in the previous session, which heads straight down, as far as you're aware, to the kitchens, presumably.
Okay, hell yeah. So I don't come walking, I come sprinting into the door as I see, before I notice the professor's status, I'll yell to him and Thackeray, it's the statue. He's going to try and sacrifice everyone before the statue. Then I see old mate's beginning to get twisty. And I'm going to race forward and try and wrestle it from his hands and head for the dumbwaiter.
Okay, fantastic. So you sprint forward and you grab a hold of this thing and you go to tear it away. And I would like you to make a, what's your build?
Soy 0.
And what is your build, Lord Bothwell?
Also 0.
Okay, in which case, can you please make for me a combat maneuver roll, and you will contest it, please, with your fighting brawl, Lord Bothwell.
Amazing.
But also touching the statue?
Also touching the statue.
Ah, you fool.
Dave knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Zip.
All right,
Yep.
you
Yeah, shit.
grab it and you yank it straight out of Lord Bothwell's hands, and as you touch it, you can feel the tentacles that make up the statue wriggling and writhing under your grip. You look down and they seem to be logical, they seem to be normal, but then all of a sudden, all of the nightmares you've had in your entire life come crashing down into you. Make for me a sanity check, and why don't you tell us like a particularly horrible nightmare that pops up? You know that one where you lost your teeth when you were 5?
Yeah. As the whole thing is done, I've got the little usher outfit on, and then like a woman's fur coat all opened up and kind of sweaty as I'm just sprinting around. All right, sanity roll first. Schwang.
Yes, okay.
What's a man got to do to go insane?
Just a single point of
Try
sanity
and
loss.
be good.
I am
Will
on
that
the
be enough
cusp.
to send you indefinite? You said you were pretty close.
I am one off.
Oh my god, okay.
I'm now on
Just-
the very cusp of madness.
So here's what we're gonna do. Yep.
Now you go ahead, man.
You grab the idol and you dive forward and you get to the very edge. I did ask you what are you seeing anything in particular? Anything viciously scary that you can think of?
I guess this weird house that when we last went through was filled with a bunch of like artists doing like, like carving statues and this weird sort of multi-story opium-induced haze thing. I think it was a dream of being lost in a labyrinth that seemed very similar to this house. And I have to shake it from me because now I need to get out of here.
Absolutely brilliant. You arrive. Are you going for the dumbwaiter or the window?
Dumbwaiter sounds way cooler.
You arrive at the dumbwaiter, and we're going
Throw
to say
myself into it.
Oh, you're throwing yourself into it. Okay,
Yeah, fuck
fantastic. So I'll tell you what, since you're not trying to just like safely get up and maneuver it in, you're just throwing your whole self down, falling as Charles did. We're going to say that you will have a bonus die to potentially resist someone trying to stop you from just diving, but
Tremendous.
you get right there and everyone gets one round to stop you, effectively.
Since I'm on the same initiative order, as soon as I see him going for it, I would like to get between him and anybody else, and basically just be helping him do this by.
Yeah, no, that's totally good. Yeah, so you're going for it. So that wasn't me telling you to be quiet. I apologize. I was like,
No, I understand. That was a thought.
That was a thought. Brilliant. So you are next up. Let me just confirm that the horde of artists surrounding the statue are not quicker than you. They are not. They are also on 50, which means that you will definitely go first as well. So is your full turn, Elias, shepherding?
Shepherding, staying between him and anyone trying to stop him. Like, I will throw punches if I got it to basically make sure that thing goes down the chute while screaming, "Don't touch it with your bare skin!"
Oh,
I look down and I'm holding it.
Okay, fantastic. So at this point, I did tell a lie. I didn't check one person's dexterity, and that person was Ernest Chillingworth, and he is going to go before you, Elias. Now, often, when you come across people like this, they have terrifying abilities with magic and they can just blast you away. But fortunately, the only magic that Chillingworth knows is the magic of the theater.
Friendship.
But he does have one other thing, and that is the magic of knife. And he is going to whip a blade out and he's going to charge forward. And rather than try and tear the statue away from you, though he's yelling violently, he is just going to try and stab you, Colin.
I dive into the dumbwaiter and I yell, "You'll never catch me!" And then I'm caught in a cramped space, just stabs me in the.
All right.
I realize this is no, never mind. I was going to be like, I could be helpful here, but I'm not sure if that's really in the vein
Out of initiative order.
Yeah, out of initiative order. Doesn't matter.
So, he's going to dive forward and he's going to attempt to stab you.
I think he gets a bonus or I get a penalty given the cramped space, right?
You are holding something and you cannot properly either dodge or riposte. So what this is going to be is he is going to start stabbing you, and if you don't want to drop the idol, you're not going to be able to resist.
Yeah, great.
Can you not put the idol between, just like out of interest, could you not have him stab the idol? Because I feel like that'd, like, he probably doesn't want to damage it, right?
It's far too heavy to move in any kind
very
of
good.
way. Yeah.
And he's like slicing at my fingers and my face and shit, I imagine. Yeah, awesome.
Here we go.
Can't get it in.
Oh, okay. You're
How
lucky.
do I get around the statue?
Shriek and slash, tearing at you and carving and cutting. But thus far,
And that's the
you were
last you're
able-
ever going to see it, mate.
So thus far, you were able to avoid being defeated. And Elias, on your turn. Now, you did say you were going to commit, but if you'd like, now that you know that Chillingworth is there, you could take.
I'm going in and I'm just going to body Chillingworth.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Would you like to make a fighting brawl test? He is going to
Sure
attempt to
do.
riposte you with his dagger. Ooh, a failure? Oh, and a failure. So you catch him. He tries to slash at you. You can't get close because he's waving the knife about. But by the same vein, he isn't really able to get you because you're sort of bigger than him and you're able to use your poise. What's your build?
Where am I? Build 1. Big boy.
Build 1. He is. Let me just confirm. He's build 0, so you should have a no. No, that's only for combat maneuvers. Never mind. Okay.
It's factored
through
into
now.
your damage.
I was going
we-
to say combat maneuvers and damage bonus.
We now dive across to Professor. So you, Professor.
To the kitchens.
You can hear what's happening up there. If you want, you can go and participate in the fight. Otherwise, you're happy to run down to the kitchens. All right.
I haven't lost any sanity. I'm looking to start now.
Right down to the kitchens. You dive down the stairs. You
Make
come in.
yourself a
You can see
sandwich.
a couple of staff bustling about. Maybe 1 or 2 guests having a private conversation. And you can also see where the dumb waiter comes out, which is basically in the center of the room. What is your action once you get down here?
Look for something flammable.
There's stoves. There's you could probably see like canisters of oil and everything that is.
Yeah, but it's something I can grab and probably might have to bring up. Or
Oil can or something.
do I want to start the fire down lower down? I guess lower down, right?
You are
Where
going
we?
to
We're
Gives
kill a
people-
lot
floor.
of people if you
It
start
gives
a
people a
fire
bit more
in
time
here.
to escape.
Yeah.
Also,
Make me
they'd be
less
like adjacent
suspicious.
apartments and things, right? Like this is
Yeah, and fires in London don't mix together well. And Ruth told you not long ago that there is apparently drugged people up at the top floor. Like they are definitely not getting out.
murder.
Yeah, but the
I feel like you
professor thing-
folks talked me into this. Nate,
I did not.
Too late now.
I was going to say, also, doesn't the professor just think everyone in here is like, craven and
Yeah.
like ungodly and probably deserves the fires of hell? Like,
Yeah, it's
it's the vibe I get from the professor.
yeah, no, yeah.
All right, we got to
No.
go quick. What are you doing?
Starting some fires.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm so drunk. I'm stumbling around the kitchen. Oh, I've just knocked that wine into the brandy into
Okay.
the fire.
Make a survival check. It's going to be a
Oh,
penalty
dear.
die if you're going to try and pass this off at all as accidental, and it will be hard because you've just sprinted downstairs and you're trying to grab oil. They keep-
All right. No time for acting then.
All right. Survival check as you start to grab stuff and throw it.
Survival. Don't have. What's base survival?
Roll a D100. I've got base survival here.
Huh.
45
It's not
is
bad.
well over base survival. You begin to grab stuff. You can light a fire if you want to. It's not incredibly difficult, but it is going to take you a while. And the people down in the kitchen start to yell. They start to approach you. They do not want this to happen. As we now go across to Clockwell.
But what's coming down the dumb waiter?
My instruction is help Chillingworth.
Yes.
I'm not a particularly good fighter. Where's the music?
The music, as far as you know, Lucas had it last, although you can remember a good deal of it.
As in, I don't see it in this room
It's
anywhere.
not in this room.
If I can remember a great deal of it, I would like to start singing it.
Fantastic.
Or playing it on an instrument that is nearby, whichever of those. I have a bent tuning fork. I'd like to hit it on something, get a horribly discordant note, and match that.
Perfect. You stand up tall, you strike this, you begin to screech and yell at the top of your voice. Do you want for me to make an intimidate check?
I was genuinely going for I want to sing the actual music and start to break people's minds, because the more people who believe this, the more likely they are to sacrifice themselves to the statue.
So the actually singing it as in any kind of spell would be a long procedure to actually, know a spell for it. At this point, you're unsettling people, and
Yes.
that's what it is. So if you succeed the intimidate check, you might be able to provoke a sanity roll, which might be enough to push Colin over the edge as he gets pushed
Let's do
over
it.
the edge.
Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, so close.
You stand up and you begin to screech and you begin to.
I do have enough luck, but I'm not spending luck.
Okay, fair enough. Not spending luck to try and drive Colin insane. You're standing now in the middle of the room, keening loudly as chaos emerges and people start to run about. The last action taken is going to be that everybody in the room is going to rush forward. They're going to start trying to grab at you, Colin, and drag you out. Now,
Unhand me, you dogs.
They don't really have enough space. You are also diving, and I mentioned you were going to have a bonus dice, but there are a lot of them. So what I think we're going to do is we are just going to do a single combat maneuver roll against Ernest Chillingsworth followers and you. So they are going to make a fighting brawl check.
And I'm opposing.
You are opposing. That is a success for them.
Schwang. Do I have any penalties for being in the box?
No, we're factoring it all in together.
Okay. Can I dodge?
You can dodge.
I dodge lower. How about you, dogs?
They grab at you, and you are now hanging like halfway inside the dumbwaiter, holding this thing, trying to maneuver it as they are dragging you out.
No,
yes.
No.
Elias did say that he was specifically putting himself in the way to assist.
Yeah,
Colin
but then I bodied.
Oh, okay.
Bodied,
Never mind. Then.
Chillingworth. Yeah.
Okay.
And
At least he's not getting stabbed anymore.
You might still have a chance too, because we now go back up to the top, starting with Colin. It is your turn. What action would you like to take?
So what I would love to have happened is I was in the dumbwaiter, right? I hit the button, it begins to descend, and just as I clear the thing, they drag me out. Now the dumbwaiter has gone down, and I see my chance for escape is just a shoot straight down to the kitchen, and I throw myself towards it once more desperately, and this time I will just plummet.
Okay, absolutely. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say that they are grabbing you, they are holding you, so you can take a you'll jump down, and you'll have to make a fighting brawl to break free of them, or a dodge. But if you're willing to not make a jump check to try and save yourself from damage, you can have a bonus die on the fighting maneuver.
Yeah.
I will take that, thank you. I throw myself forward. This is a combat maneuver, so if they have build 1, I'm at a penalty.
They do not. They have build 0.
Ah. Animals.
They are going to fail. So, oh my god!
Oh, I have a bonus because
You do have a bonus.
hurtling. Zip. 16 points of luck spent.
Oh, you still had some left.
I had 80 to
So
begin with, so
much, yeah.
absurd
Which means
amount.
that with the statue in tow, you go tumbling straight down after this thing and falling down. You don't make a roll, and you are holding a giant statue and crunch.
So Mooresville's in the kitchen grabbing the oil. He hears the ding, looks over, the dumbwaiter opens, there's nothing there, then slam! Colin knocks into it and tumbles out onto the ground bleeding.
I absolutely I think this huge thing is the dent the top of this thing.
I got the statue.
Now this is a 3-story drop. We did establish. I think a D6 of damage is pretty reasonable.
Minimum.
Little two. Make it interesting. Two or 3d6.
Tell you what. Let's go.
End game.
Let's go for D6 plus 1. Let's go for D6 plus 1.
Still potentially a major wound and unconsciousness and death.
Nice.
One
good.
off.
One off a major wound. Okay.
So
And you tumble through,
disappointing.
bam, and then the idol slams onto the ground. You hear Chillingworth shriek from upstairs, and in fury, he is going to spin around, and he is going to turn towards you, Elias.
Oh, well, I'm already engaged with him, aren't I? I'm already.
You are already engaged with him, yelling, and he's going to call for the assistance of his friends, who are all going to dive in. Now, they are on the same initiative as you, so functionally, we're going to give him a bonus die as he is going to try and stab you.
Where?
Coming up, are you going to dodge or riposte?
I'd like to riposte. I really want to punch this guy in the face.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Here we go. A success, and bonus is going to be not necessary, but he comes in and he is going to deal 1d4 plus DB for 4 damage listed there as he begins to slash across you. You are pushed back as more and more of his allies start to come through, and we're going to be speeding now towards the end since we are running out of time, but let's begin to set the scene. I think that what happens downstairs first? Let's get that. You see Colin bump, land and hit the ground and start to cough and choke and call out. What's your immediate reaction, Professor?
Use that distraction to throw. Oh, you've got the idol?
Got the idol.
Did the idol
You've got
break?
the idol out.
You drag the idol down with him, down in the dumbwaiter.
Yeah. Did the idol
The
break
idol
when it
needs
hit
to
the
go,
ground?
Professor. You're the only one who'll know what to do with it. Take it and run.
Fantastic. I'll grab a tea towel
Yep.
and then pick up the idol with
You're
it.
gonna want to touch it.
I'm not going to touch it.
You're gonna want to touch it.
I'm not going to touch it.
It's gonna.
I don't think you know you shouldn't touch it because no one's told you.
Oh, come on.
And I'm
the
carrying
paranoid
it bare
one.
skin, and I
Well,
seem fine except for a small tumble down the well.
But I remember I yelled it, don't touch it with your bare skin.
Yeah,
I'll give you
Yeah,
one
but
point of
different.
luck to get a hard success in an occult roll to know I'm not going to touch the goddamn statue.
Fantastic. You grab a tea towel, you grab the statue, and you begin to dart outside, dragging this out into the street. Colin, you start to haul yourself to your feet, but before long, people are going to rush down and they're going to start piling all over you. So here's a couple of questions. First of all, upstairs, Lord Bothwell, you are currently completely thrown into your bout of madness, and as you begin to keen, I think that the most dramatic Cthulhu-esque solution up here would be to you to turn towards your faithful helper and attempt to kill them, but you may feel differently. What do you think Bothwell does? And we will push this as like towards the prologue for the epilogue for the rest of this crazy evening.
You said that someone has to willingly sacrifice himself to this
Oh,
thing.
Yes,
yep.
I have a gun.
you do. It went right down the dumb waiter, and you know where your allies are. You could possibly try and intercept them.
I would like to try and intercept to get to the statue.
All right. Would you? Okay, fantastic. I'll come back to you in a second. Elias, what's your plan?
Seeing Bothwell trying to go for it, I still think. You know what? I would like to try and throw Chillingworth out the window.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So you are going to be trying to find the idol and sacrifice yourself. You are going to be trying to throw Chillingworth out the window. Lucas Morsville, you were trying to escape. Colin, what is your final objective? We're basically going to get everyone to do one final roll to push forward to this.
I'm gonna do everything I can to ensure the professor escapes with the idol. So I'll be stopping people chasing after him and placing myself in the door, holding on either side. Go! Don't look back!
Perfect. I love it. Colin, can you make for me a fighting brawl check?
You got it, boss.
Elias, can you also make for me a fighting brawl check? Professor, could you please make for me a dexterity check or a stealth check as you attempt to either run or hide? And I think
I'm gonna luck that
if you
if I
allow
can.
me to steer the direction of your actions a little bit, Lord Bothwell, could you make a spot hidden check as you head towards the windows of this facility and try and reverse engineer just where you'll have to land to fall in front of the idol?
I'm going to luck that if I can.
Hilarious.
You can absolutely luck it. Yes, spend all the luck. Now's the time.
Yep, it's gone. I've got like a little bit left, but yeah, that's gone. I'm succeeding.
I would like to make mine a hard success just because
Well, I'd like to make mine a high success.
Okay.
Fucking
Well,
Hardy
you-
boys.
Fantastic.
I mean, I think I can make mine an extreme if I have to.
Oh,
so
I can't make
I
an
think
extreme.
you're all
It's up to the keeper. We both succeeded,
all is well. I think everyone has succeeded here. So that's
except for
perfect.
Elias.
So
I know
first
I
of all-
lucked it.
Oh, you
I
lucked it? Amazing.
I'm lucking that. Oh yeah,
Well,
I was so saving for.
Well, in true epilogue fashion, you grab Chillingworth, you drag him towards the edge. When you get him, and despite the injuries that you sustained by his followers who surely produce knives and are attacking you, you slam forward using your strength. When you finally get him out the window, does he go willingly, or yelling to Cthulhu, or faced with death, does he change his tune?
I feel like he saw himself as the mastermind of all this, who wasn't going to sacrifice himself. It was everybody else who was sacrificing themselves. So I think there's a lot of the no.
He tumbles down. Do you give us any cool last words as you throw him?
No, I think his followers are still hell bent on destroying me. So I think I managed to throw him out the window as I'm being like pulled back into the darkness of the room by these crazed followers, stabbed
Perfect.
multiple times.
Excellent.
Always
And
knows
you
when
collapse
it's-
down, but you do see him tumble over and you will hear his cry get cut off as downstairs. Colin, you put up a valiant fight with a success. Let me ask you, do you once you get overwhelmed, break away into the night to maybe survive another day?
No.
Or do you go down under a hail of fists, giving Lucas every second?
Yeah, every second. One last role to play.
Brilliant.
One of these.
Okay, fantastic. Lucas, you dart away, and with your success, what is the tactic you chose? You chose dexterity, so it's just speed.
Yeah.
You're lugging this thing along. Where are you planning to take it? What's going to happen to it?
My house, to add to my collection, my secret vault of all manner of nasty occult things that should never be allowed to see the light of day again.
And of course, just as you think you've made it away, you round the
heck.
corner, you get into the distance, and suddenly, with a bang, something lands in front of you.
Professor!
You hear the yell as crunch, a body lands, jumping the 3-story drop straight down, this time not bouncing down the side of the dumbwaiter, straight onto the cobblestones as the good Lord Bothwell throws himself out the window to try and deliberately perish in front of the idol. Lord Bothwell, do you perish, or are you simply injured, and will you have a chance perhaps to come back to yourself?
I mean, I made the assumption I would have to touch the damn thing. Is that not correct?
Just land on it.
There
Under
was a
its gaze.
sacrifice before.
Oh, under its gaze. Can I roll the d6 plus 1 to see whether or not I hit and go unconscious?
This will be onto concrete, so you instead of falling down, as I said, instead of like jumping down, falling down, landing on the dumbwaiter, and then
first.
carrying you sort of flat. This will be
Swan dive.
Yeah, I think
My aim was not to like swan dive and crash into the ground and do it that way. That was more like, because that's not ritualistic enough.
right.
So
As you go down,
essentially,
just have a little
I think
chant.
I think what's
Take
going to
over
happen is
narration
like
here. Basically, do you want to have died or not, or do you land and then open your veins with a knife or some sort to try and sacrifice yourself? You can take over the narration.
yeah, I think I will. I think I'll land. There's a horrifying crunch as one of my legs breaks.
Ew.
And just there's a sort of muffled yell, and he'll look up and he'll say, "Professor, you have no idea the things you're missing out on. See you on the other side." And then he's going to. I won't narrate it, but there's a gun, and there's and I
Click,
think
clack.
I would like to inflict a sanity roll on the professor watching someone shoot themselves in the head.
You don't get away with no sanity rolls, Professor. Please make for me your sanity roll.
Oh, come on.
Can you give us out your reaction?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there goes another one.
As you grab the idol and you will tear off. And now,
Just behind him, thunk. As Chillingworth hits the
Chillingworth.
deck.
Chillingworth.
Hey.
Now, of course, one death will not be enough to fuel the power of the idol to bring about the end of days.
Technically, it's
It
two
will be
deaths.
technically 2 deaths. You're right, but it will be
Chillingworth
enough to
didn't do it
awaken
willingly.
something within it. In the time that comes, Lucas Mooresville, I am sure you will be wrought with strange nightmares and terrifying visions caused by the thing in your safe. Will you eventually get rid of it? Will you hang on to it? Who knows? But we are so out of time, and that is the end of Loki's gift. Thank you so much for playing, everybody, and thank you so much for watching. Remember,
you,
James.
Get this book from chaosium.com in PDF or in hardcover.
Thank you,
And as you
James.
may have guessed, there is a lot more to this scenario. Really exciting things that you can explore, all kinds of stuff with Theodore Holcomb, and also a variety of different endings, although this is definitely one of the possible ways that it can go. Thank you so much for playing, everybody. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, audience. We will see you next
Jimbo.
week. Where we'll be playing, and we will also see you on Monday when we will be playing RuneQuest. But before we throw away entirely, Dave, I'm going to toss towards you if you want to say 1 or 2 things about what is coming.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just say that, starting next week, we're going to be launching into Two-Headed Serpent, which is going to be our next long, ongoing campaign. So make sure you're there for the beginning. You'll get a chance to see these investigators, or heroes, should I say, as they leap into action, and we'll just say, if you thought what we've done so far was pulp nonsense, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is going to be the 11 on the scale. So jump in and join us from the beginning.
Would it be presumptive to ask that we'll keep the tradition of a sneaky PDF giveaway for the first session?
Yeah. So for the first one, we'll do it. We'll do a PDF giveaway if you want to join us, and you'll get a chance to get a copy of Two-Headed Serpent.
Yeah.
Great, Scott.
I'm so excited.
Hell yeah.
Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Boy.